In this video, we will show you how to answer statement questions. These questions take the form of 4 statements that we must analyse. The common feature of each of the statement question types is that you need to understand the text in some detail to answer confidently, and so there are fewer shortcuts available. In this video, our objectives are to get you familiar with the main statement question types and practice answering each statement question type. Remember, with each of the following question types, the advice is essentially the same. You need to practice reading quickly, but with understanding. Some of the tips given in other videos can help with speed, but only practice can help with understanding. In terms of timing, we have already mentioned that you'll have an average of 29 seconds to answer each verbal reasoning question. With practice, you may be able to answer true, false, can't tell questions quicker than this, leaving you with perhaps 30 to 40 seconds for each statement question. Still, this leaves a little over a minute to read the passage and no more than 20 seconds to actually answer each statement question. This can be achieved, but at least at first you may need to skip or flag the harder passages with long statement questions. Now let's get to the statement question types. First, inference questions. These represent the vast majority of statement questions. An inference question is essentially one that asks you to find a statement that is provably true, using the text as evidence. It may be a data-based or information-based question. If the test begins a question, for example, with, "It can be inferred from the passage that," it is asking you to find a statement for which there is clear proof in the text. The answer cannot be likely, or plausible, or possible. It must be proven by the text. Another way that inference can be asked is, which of the following statements must be true? Which of the following statements are best supported by the passage? Which of these assertions is best supported by information in the passage? Or, what conclusion can be drawn from the passage? Other times, the test will be more direct and simply asked, which 2 organs are associated with disease X? Next, author questions. You may be asked, according to the passage, the author would most likely agree with which of the following? You must pick the statement that you think the author would most likely agree with, based on the passage. It's hard to skim such questions because often one paragraph seems to suggest the author might think X, but then the next paragraph concludes that the author instead believes Y. This is why, even if you're skimming, you should look through every paragraph. Other ways you might be asked author questions include, what does the author think? Why does the author? Next, accept and not questions. Here, the trick is simple. You must spot those words which will be in bold in the question. For example, the author agrees with each of the following except. So now we're looking for the statement that the author disagrees with, or which of the following would not be a problem for historians of the period. Here, there will be 3 statements that represent problems for historians of the period, but we must find the statement that is not a problem for them, using our knowledge of the text. Missing those not or except words can mean an entirely wasted question. Now try answering the following question set. The answer is C. The majority of New Zealand species have not been identified and recorded. This can be proven in the 3rd paragraph, as the text states, the scale of what is being lost is impossible to accurately gauge, as only about 20% of New Zealand species have been identified and recorded. Now let's think about why the options were not correct. Answer A is too strong and is a subjective judgment about the campaign. Answer B is not supported by evidence. The text merely states that the dairy herd grew massively in the last 20 years. Answer D is contraindicated by the text, which in the last paragraph states that a culprit of worsening freshwater quality is the intensive use of fertilizers. The correct answer is C. The text explicitly states that almost 2/3 of New Zealand's rare ecosystems are under threat of collapse. 2/3 equals 66.6, so the actual percentage is most likely between 60 to 70%. The answer is B. Some tourists may have a false impression of the state of New Zealand's landscape. This can be proven in the first paragraph, as the text states, "The report presents a sobering summary of a country that is starkly different from the pristine landscape promoted in the Pure New Zealand marketing campaign that lures millions of tourists every year." Let's think about why the answer cannot be one of the other options. Answer A is too strong. Not every species is under greater threat. In fact, the text states that the conservation status of just 26 species improved in the past 10 years. Both answer C and answer D are contraindicated by the text, which in the first paragraph describes the dairy industry and urban sprawl as destructive. This time, the answer is D. This is not a question, so we're looking for what isn't to blame for the worsening freshwater quality. In other words, 3 of the answers will be to blame. The 3 answers that are to blame are found in the last paragraph. The main culprits for worsening freshwater quality were the intensive use of fertilizers, irrigation, and cows. The only answer that is not explicitly mentioned as being to blame are the millions of foreign tourists coming to New Zealand. While it's plausible that the volume of tourists is to blame, the text doesn't make this point, and so D is the correct answer. We hope this overview of the statement question types has given you more confidence in facing them. While no tricks can substitute for a good understanding of the text and the ability to read and comprehend quickly, the more preparation and practice you do, the better you will get at these question types.
That concludes another UCAT lesson. If you like the strategies and content we're developing and want to see more free content, please leave us a like and don't forget to subscribe. If you have any UCAT questions, leave us a comment below and we'll help you sort it out and get your preparation up to speed.